Joining me now is the famous Shay Spain. Shay, when did you join the Conquerors?
I joined the Conquerors early '72.
And what was your position within the Conquerors?
A drummer. Yeah.
And where were you playing before you joined the Conquerors?
Well, I started off with, back in '62, thinking I was able to drum, and it just progressed on then, and joined the first professional band in '68 with Jack Hanley Show Band from Templemore. That progressed on in 1970 to Johnny Regan and the Tumbleweeds, based in Portumna. And that band broke up about a year and a half after, and myself and John O'Brien, who was the original guitar player for donkey's years afterwards, in Bagatelle. And the two of us went to Dublin one day and we got a job, the two of us, with Frankie Carroll and the Ranchers.
Shay, there must have been some great times along the road. Tell us some great memories you've had down through the years with the Conquerors.
Well, I don't think I ever had a row with anybody in the Conquerors. It was a great.
Yes, you
had. Did I?
Well, that's Willie Carty in the background there. He said, "Oh,
I
yes, you had."
I remember setting Tommy Flynn's hair on fire one particular gig.
Why did you do something like that, Shay?
I was acting the fool, and Tommy was after spraying his hair. Tommy had a great head of hair, and he was after spraying his hair with hairspray, really. And I was messing with matches, and I just, "Hey, Tommy, watch it," and turned on the match, and the whole head went up in flames.
But there was no bad result at the end of the day, was there?
Not at all. Well, he fell out of me maybe for 2 weeks. I burnt his eyebrows and his eyelashes.
It was a serious situation at that stage.
They grew back.
Shay, you were up and down the country driving the van. What van were you driving?
Ford Transit, blue one.
A blue one.
Blue one.
That was a good one at the time, was it?
Yeah, all the bands had a Transit that time,
And did you mind travelling up and down the country? I mean, it must have been rough at that stage.
I had to travel for nothing, because that's what. Well, sometimes we did travel for nothing, but generally it was great,
And recording-wise,
we weren't worried about money that time. Once we had enough,
but sure, we're still not worried about money.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Tell me about recordings. Were you involved in the recording?
Yeah, I was involved in. I was involved in the first ones that Willie mentioned there, that we did in Eminandra Studios, I think, or Lumbar Studios, one or the other, anyway. And then I drummed on "Baby Come Back" as well, and that was the first kind of memorable sort of song that was played a lot on the radio, so we were lucky that way, so.
Of all the years you were with the Conquerors, give me 3 favourite memories you've had down through the years with the Conquerors.
The tours of England.
Why the tours of England?
Tours of England, because in the early days we used to go to England, and we used to stay with Brendan, the bass player, had a sister in Harrow, and she had no children at the time, and we used to stay in her house for the week or 2 weeks that we were over. And we'd bring over maybe a bag of spuds or 2 bags of spuds in the van as well to help the thing along, She was great. She fed us like kings, so. But like that time we'd have been playing kind of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You might have Monday off, but there were great memories. And up and down the M1 and M6 and don't be talking, it was magic,
And of course then, Shay, you've gone on to form your own business, Shay Spain
Yeah, well,
AV.
One of the reasons I left the Conquerors, because I was, myself and my brother Roger started in 1970, Easter of '78, we opened a record shop in Nina. And of course, he didn't give up his job. He was a carpet fitter with Slattery's in Nina. And I was driving the van, and I was getting up at 8:30 or 9 o'clock to go and work in the shop, and I was going from that to the gig, and that nearly killed me, So in my own head, which was maybe wrong at the time, I decided to leave the Conquerors, and then I started a small band a fortnight later with another fella that had been in the Conquerors, Mike Healy. Started a band called Midnight, and went out. That was there for 5 years, and then with a chat with Willie. One night at a charity gig in Portumna, we formed a plan to start a band called Royal Flush, which is
very successful band, and that's still going, isn't it?
We had great years with Royal Flush, yes.
And what about Spain AV?
Spain AV sort of started by accident, really, and Willie was involved in that too, because he was putting. We had an ABBA tribute band as well within our Royal Flush band, and we had a girl in the band. Then we put a different girl in. We started an ABBA tribute band, and we were doing Christmas party gigs in Silver Springs in Cork. And Willie, as I always was talking to Willie over once a week maybe for years, and he said he was putting Mike out on his first tour, but he was looking for an angle. And I said, I have the angle for you. I said, what are you doing Thursday? He says, nothing. I said, let yourself and Mike down here to the Silver Springs and look at what we have. And we had 3 screens and lights to bait the band and big sound. And as we walked in, we started our ABBA song, which I think was Super Trooper, and turned on all the gimmicks that we had within it, screens included. And he just thought it was a great idea. So that's what we did for about 4 tours then with Mike. They were really lucrative for us because they were Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays or Thursdays, and we could play our weekends then with the band. So it was great, and there were good tours, big crowds, and it was a novelty then as well because bands hadn't toured theatres or ballrooms as a sit-down audience at the time. It was a whole new thing,
Well, Shay Spain, would you like to congratulate the Conquerors on their 50th birthday?
Yes, I would, because it's great even to still be around to be able to see it. And still friends with Willie and Tony Maher, who I grew up beside at home in Toomevara, so I was just very lucky all my life,